Hello everyone, we're going to be answering some more questions today. Let's jump in. So our first comment is actually a statement. You didn't show how you made the part that showed Kylie Jenner. That was my whole goal of watching the video. So, Lord Ace, and whoever's paying attention to this first question, I'll go ahead and unlist what I have inside of the course of this specific section. For people that bought the course, they get the assets that I made to follow along. You'll have to create those yourself. But, you know, it's a lot of time has passed so far. It's been a few months. I think that'd be fair of just unlisting the video to show you about 45 minutes of me making that section. So hopefully that is helpful. There you go. All right, next one. How are your clients' claimed sales is true? How do you know he sold out his class? So this is from one of our favorites that we made, how I price short form content. And I need to make an updated version of this, but a lot of it still rings true to what is in that video because it's more about providing value other than thinking about the price tag. So in this case, how was I sure? Well, I had a good relationship with the client, so they were honest with me. You know, that's something that I want to articulate in the future of like, you want to go into these client relationships as like a win-win, not just trying to make a buck. And I'm not saying that you are implying this. I think some of the content that I've put out and some of the content that's kind of in this space kind of really hones in on like the pricing aspect of it, which is important. But I think what's more important is just cultivating that relationship going forward. So you can not only keep getting work, you can get referrals and so on and so forth. So I want to try and articulate that in the future. But how did I know that he sold out his class? He told me. So we have that trust. I was able to know that I did a good job. Another thing that I do want to show you is if you're kind of building it from the ground up, or maybe it's a smaller business or organization, an easy way to track stuff is to use Bitly. It's a bit.ly, and then you can create custom links to see how many engagements. So part of what I left out of that video, or I might have mentioned it just briefly, is that I could see who clicked on the video, right? Because I had a specific link of like, hey, use this to go to that video, because at the very least, I can see who engaged with it. So to give you some numbers, like with our preset pack, there was like 22,000 people I know for a fact clicked on it. Nowhere near did they did they buy that. I'd probably be doing something else. But like 22,000 people I know clicked on this link, or on this link, we had almost 8,000 people click on this link. And then I can see like when those happen, right? There's data to go back on it. But that is what I would do, is if it's a small operation that is maybe your first time of like tracking something, you can at least show them the number of like, hey man, just wanted to reach out. I saw that we got about 100 more engagements from this past weekend that you sent the video out, or whatever the marketing campaign is. You can get more numbers around it with just a simple Bitly link that's totally free. So maybe give that a try if you're starting out with you know, trying to sell a product for a client, just for things to measure and for things to track. Like that is so important, because then it's like, well, what results are we really driving? And going back to your question of, well, how do I make sure? That I feel like is, you just have to build that trust so you can have those conversations around the numbers. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know. So next one, just watch the video. Thank you so much. Very motivational. After raising my prices a bit, my client basically told me to F off, but appreciate the content, bro. What's interesting about this, and what I have observed up until this point, is that it might be in your best interest to join an agency or maybe team up with a few editors to see what you guys can accomplish. Because it's actually sometimes easier to be in a room and maybe you can justify it. It's almost like psychological to like charging higher prices is if you have a team, is if you present yourself with having a team. Because if you present yourself where it's just you and you're just kind of starting out, or you have a few years of experience, it's kind of hard to sell that because it's like so personal. Whereas if you have a team, it's a little bit easier to like come into a Zoom meeting or into a room with 2 or 3 people to talk about what we're going to be doing for this marketing campaign, or whatever the offer is. It gives you a little bit more credence. It gives it a little bit more weight, that there's more people involved in looking at this specific subject, where it's just not you doing all kinds of things as a video editor. Oh, you're doing this, 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 and it's just you. They're already kind of in the headspace of just, oh, I'm hiring some help for this, rather than like, oh, I'm hiring a team that's helping me. Something to think about going into those conversations, because that's kind of the transition that I've made. I went from a team that I started myself to a solopreneur, and then now I joined an agency. I just like, I couldn't survive. So I joined an agency, and it got so much easier because I have people around me that is also looking at the problem, and we have an entire roster and team helping us get all of the work done. It's not just me. So I've kind of made my own transition. I think I'll make a video on that in the future, but look into that. Maybe team up with some fellow editors and network and see what you guys can find, and just put some ideas together to see what offers that line up with your own beliefs, or like what you like to do, what you have done in the past. Like, see if you can team up with some people to make all of your lives easier and make money doing it. So the next one, can you make a detailed video on this without skipping points? This video was so fast. So there's already a few of those out there, but as far as like the details, I don't want to upload a 4 to 5 hour video around this because I tried to leverage it as a product. I might do it in the future. And to be honest, I think the 3D style is way too much for little upside. I think what really matters around content in general is how it's cut and what the message actually is. And I think I'm going to do a video of that in the future. But basically, I've said it before, but I'll go ahead and say it here. You almost want to have the content always like someone can take away something from it, like they're gaining something from the content. You know, when people talk about value, oh, value is kind of like this buzzword. If the video that I'm about to post, what is someone going to learn from it? What can they take away? What can they interpret from the message that's being sent? So really the cut is the most important part, not the style. The style is really like the last thing. And with the 3D style, I think it's so cumbersome and so unnecessary that I would rather get better at trying to tell stories or trying to cut up better narratives that people can get value from, rather than making it all flashy with the 3D stuff. Just my opinion, but I hope that helps in some way. Faraz, you can simply convert your captions to advanced graphics. If I had $1 for every person that has corrected me in the comments, I would have, I don't know how much money, because this video was made prior to the big update around the text panel. So in this video, that was almost 3 years ago now, you couldn't do the convert captions to graphics. You had to do them manually. So I made a follow-up video that did not do anywhere near the views that this one did, because this one still kills an SEO, and I'm like kind of conflicted of taking it down because it still kills. The problem is that the info that's in this video is outdated. So I think I'm gonna finally bite the bullet here next month and put like a big outdated across the thumbnail. And I might just reuse the thumbnail for our next video. And I'm gonna make that into a walkthrough, similar to what we did for the 2023 one. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use the same title, essentially the same exact thumbnail, and see where it goes, because I'm so tired of getting people that come in and it's like, well, I mean, this was posted almost 3 years ago. And in the comments, I did pin where you could look at that updated video, but I know a lot of people don't look at that. So, but I will send that to you, Faraz, I promise. The next one, you didn't cover transitions, but a lot of value, thanks. The transitions, I always talk about Mr. Horse inside of Premiere Pro. It's a plugin, it's free. Their transitions have so overused at this point, but I think they're great starting points to kind of elevate the content just a little bit. But Mr. Horse, you can also look inside of After Effects, because they actually have a few other transition options as well for the free stuff. And then of course they have some paid stuff as well. As far as like free transitions, I would say you might want to look up film burn transitions or glitch transitions on YouTube or other free websites. And you can just download those. I know there's a lot of people on YouTube that have those as well. So if you just search free transitions, there's all kinds of stuff that you can find online. So I would just do that, honestly, and then see what you like, you'll kind of develop your own taste once you get an idea of like, hey, I like this one, and you can use it in some of your edits. But I hope that helps. Thanks for commenting. Do you teach Amon Godzi style? I think the style is pretty cumbersome, similar to the 3D reels. I really don't have the desire to cover it because I feel like there's other people out there like Mapile has, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I think he's done a good job covering the subject and kind of the techniques around it. But really, I think it's knowing a little bit of shape layers and then using a lot of posterized time and wiggle, like a lot of that. I know on some of the animations, he also uses the puppet pen tool to make 2D animations look 3D by moving them ever so slightly, adding keyframes. But I might do it in the future. I'm not that interested, so I'll have to let you know. So. Next question, Dark Tiger 0127. That's not true though. Okay, the video's 3 years old. I get it. I'm telling y'all, I get this comment all the time, which it's not y'all's fault. I know it does great in YouTube and it ranks still. I'll go ahead and send you the new one, and then I will be making an updated walkthrough because there are different features inside of Premiere Pro as of right now, here at the end of 2024, which I think is a good segue from Dark Tiger to Sadar Moeen. He says, hey, I'm in the middle of the video and I don't find the text animation, which you did upgrade the graphics. I have in presets like stretch in, fade out when I apply on selected area. I didn't see any difference. Anyone please guide me about that. I will be thankful. So it's a little bit different now. So let's go inside of Premiere. So we're inside of Premiere Pro. I'm gonna teach you two nuances that I kind of do when I'm inside of Premiere Pro involving captions to graphics. So in this case, I'll create some captions. Let's just do the default, give you an idea of what we're looking at. So now we don't have that many captions, right? They're all kind of sitting here. Now I'm gonna make another set of them. Go back to my transcript, create captions, just so I have some options to deal with. Like, oh, okay, I think this will be fine. And I can kind of pick and choose of what I wanna use. So in this case, I'll make this 2 seconds, single lines. Now, what are the differences here? One of the main ones that a lot of YouTubers talk about is that when you have the captions, you can't add any sort of animations, right? So I have this slide up animation, I can't add that. But if I select this, go to graphics and titles, upgrade caption to graphic, now I can add an animation to it. So in this case, we're gonna have it slide up, and there it is, it's sliding up because I converted it to a graphic. But what happens here? So before I change this into a graphic, right? In our text panel, we can see it in our captions tab. Well, what's in the graphics tab? Nothing, because we don't have any graphics on the timeline. So in this case, if I select it, upgrade it, now I have that single layer in the graphics. So it's the same thing, but they are classified as different because they have different things. So here's one of the nuances that I like to do when I'm messing with these text layers. So say that I wanted to increase the font size to like 110. Right? So most of these might be fine, but there's probably a few text layers like this one that doubles up. I don't want that, but I also don't want to compromise that, hey, there's probably going to be more captions in here that are doubled up. How do I fix that? Here's one of those quick ways that you could do it. So in this case, we have this grid. If I select it on screen, we can see the grid, right? So I can move these, but I could also use this little parameter inside of align and transform, which is the horizontal and vertical size. I'll move the horizontal size and that'll stretch it out. So I no longer have to compromise the size of the text or convert it or mess with all of it. So I can technically go across all of these and then move that maximum, right? So in this case, it's 162 or maybe a little bit more to where all of them hopefully are now all single lined. So that's a quick nuance that I like to use before I convert them into graphics if I want to add more effects to it. And then another thing inside of, once you make it into a graphic, in this case, here's the graphic. So here we have some transform of just clicking on it, but to get to the meat of all of the settings, we can go here. And now we have something similar to align and transform section. We no longer have that parameter. It's still technically present here, right? It's still technically present. So if I had this a little bit bigger, I don't know, we did what, 110, right? We can still modify it with this box, except we don't have a parameter controlling that. We can just do it here. Even inside of the effect controls, we don't have this parameter anywhere. So that's kind of the benefit that I like using captions, is that I can see that parameter. It's not, you know, kind of free form here. But anyway, so those are some quick nuances. Hopefully that helps you. If you don't have this option, it's either you have a pirated version that isn't up to date to, I think, 23 plus. I believe 23 is the one that added it. So try and get Adobe 23 on your system, and you should be able to do that. The other side to it is that I believe the caption transcript engine is through Wi-Fi. So you need to be connected to Wi-Fi to use this. To the extent that I understand how the engine works, I'm pretty sure it's still powered through Wi-Fi. So that might be an issue as well. Kyle, is there a separate Discord server for the paid community? There technically is. I've shut it off for now. I might have it come back in the new year. I haven't decided yet because I think I do want to make a transition all the way to YouTube, but that will be in the future as well. But that is it for all the questions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.